Welcome to the Movies to Watch Before You Die podcast. I'm your host, Dylan, along with my cousin and co-host,
Gab.
And today we are talking about a movie that I have suggested as one that is a movie to watch before you die. It is the 1996 puppet classic, The Muppet Treasure Island. Gab?
Yes, it is.
I'm excited to hear what you thought about this. Had you never seen this before?
No, Dylan, I had never seen this before. And actually, it made me realize that I had really never seen much with the Muppets. Like, I'm not like super duper familiar with the Muppets and their names and all of that. Obviously, beyond like Kermit and Miss Piggy.
I found out recently, so I was talking to my friend and they said that they had asked their brother who their favorite Muppet was. And he was like, I'm an adult, I don't know Muppets. And acted like they'd never heard of any one of them. And even if you've never acknowledged the Muppets, you know who Miss Piggy is. You know who Kermit is.
Absolutely. Yeah, no question. I mean, I feel like the Muppets, and maybe my parents just didn't love me, right? But I feel like were we in like the solid Muppet age group?
I think we were in a bit of a Muppet lull because I feel like we have Muppet Christmas Carol and Muppet Treasure Island, and then there's sort of a break in Muppet stuff. And I think they've started to come back a little bit more now. Like they had that 2011 Jason Segel movie, and there was a sequel to that, and they had a show on ABC for a season. And obviously, they just had the special
new show.
Yeah. So they've always sort of been around, but I think we were in that period where they had the two adaptations of classic stories, and not that much else that I'm aware of going on. Like when you and I were right in that time.
I vaguely remember Muppet Babies, but people talk about like Gonzo the Great and Rizzo Rat, and I'm like, yeah, from A Christmas Carol, right? And like that's the only way that I really know them, other than of course Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy, who have permeated the cultural zeitgeist.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you had not seen this before.
I had not, and just to add to it, I had also never read Treasure Island, so this was all sort of like brand new for me.
I was gonna say, I don't think I've ever actually read Treasure Island. I loved this movie as a kid, but I hadn't watched in years. I think I've seen Treasure Planet, which was like some Disney cartoon adaptation of it that was like outer space and swashbuckly and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not this. It's not the Muppets. So
no.
Gab, this being your first experience with it, with Treasure Island or Muppet Treasure Island, can you tell me what is Muppet Treasure Island about?
What's this all been about? What am I working toward?
Explain! As you would a child.
You think you know everything about me, don't you?
I dive at your bottom. I bloody well ought to.
Dylan, Muppet Treasure Island is about an orphan boy who comes into a treasure map and goes on an adventurous expedition to uncover the treasure that is hidden on the map. Sorry.
A little bit better than the IMDb plot summary, because IMDb plot summary is very succinct and just says the Muppets set sail in search of treasure with Jim Hawkins and Long John Silver.
Oh, that sucks. Mine is better than that.
I was gonna say they're like, listen, there's treasure, and here's two characters' names.
There's like, Muppets, there's treasure, and the Long John Silver's, that fast food fish joint, he's in there too.
The title of the movie tells me as much as IMDb's plot summary does.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like the people who work at IMDb just don't fucking feel like it. It was probably a Friday, 4 p.m. They were like, listen, Muppets, treasure, what else do you need?
We got to finish all these fucking Muppets. The guy's drinking a drag of a cigarette. Like, I'm fucking out of here. I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. I do my job like that too sometimes.
We also have only two taglines.
Oh, I love it. Hit me with them.
A classic tale of ships coming in and luck running out.
That can't be from the mind of a tagline writer. That has to be directly from Treasure Island.
It could be, because the next one is set sail for Muppet Mayhem.
Yeah, that's more like what I would expect.
Yeah, it feels like marketing wise for both of these Muppet movies, they were like, again, I'm picturing some executive taking a drag of a cigarette, like, they'll fucking see it. The Muppet name's there. Why do I got to do the work of a tagline? Fuck it.
Yeah. No, but
apparently
no need.
This is shady executive guy who's like, fuck you, you'll pay me.
Yeah, Tony Soprano / the guy who writes the taglines for the Muppet movies.
You know what? I would love to see that crossover episode.
Oh my God, the Muppet Sopranos.
That would be. I feel like that's got to be a video out there on YouTube somewhere.
I'm sure. Okay, so do we want to give any content? Like, I feel like, IMDb kind of really as much as we're making fun of them, they kind of gave us what happens in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to give slightly briefer context, Jim Hawkins lives with Rizzo and Gonzo, who are still there to be like his family, his main peeps. They set sail for adventure because they come into possession of the map.
Because of Billy Bones.
Because of Billy Bones, which I do
Billy
love.
Bones.
Blind Pew is a great character. I'll get into more during the opinions. But Billy Bones warns him with his dying breath, beware the one-legged man. He's a killer, be careful. They get on this expedition, and there's, of course, a one-legged man who will be played by the brilliant Tim Curry, Long John Silver.
Brilliant.
And it's really just about the back and forth of, does he trust Long John Silver, who he gets to know better? Does he trust the captain, who is Kermit the Frog? And will they find the treasure together or apart?
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Gab, should we get into our opinions?
I cannot wait.
In this critic's opinion,
that's just like your opinion, man.
Well, I have a right to my opinion, and my opinion is you have no right to your opinion.
I feel like a lot of my thoughts are going to be better or worse than Christmas Carol, because I feel like this episode is in direct response to you saying Muppet Christmas Carol was not a mood watch for you die. Spoilers for that episode, but you wanted to see more of these Muppets, maybe.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, how did this strike you in comparison?
So I have to be honest with you. I think that it probably would have hit a little better if I had known the origin work. So it was hard to be like, what is like poking fun at Treasure Island and Muppetizing it? And obviously, like, the musical numbers were great. It's very silly. It's very like campy, right? I really love that I do know some of the characters now. So like Sam Eagle playing the first mate and kind of doing the like punishing people, and Kermit, or talking about how Kermit is such a scary captain and he's like not scary at all, right? Those sorts of gags were really great because I had come to know that character. I think Miss Piggy was fabulous as the, like, what was she, like the queen of the pig people?
Benjamina Gunn, the lost love of the captain. Yeah.
Yes. However, when it came to like the other minutia, I feel like if you don't know Treasure Island, you're like, a lot of it is probably going over your head. So I did wish that it was maybe like, and I'm thinking of this because of the pirates, but like Muppet Peter Pan would have probably been like a sillier go, because I'd be like, oh, I understand like the origin work.
Gotcha. So I think what you were saying is you were sort of more bogged down in the source material than you would have liked to have been, because you wanted to just enjoy the Muppet stuff more, and instead you were kind of thinking about the plot more.
Yes, 100%. And it's not super complex. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't want people to come at me like as if I had a hard time interpreting what was going on in this children's movie. But like, surely you can appreciate a, what's the word I'm looking for? Not a farce, but like a spoof of something if you understand the source material well.
Absolutely.
Whereas like, you can enjoy Spaceballs, but it's much funnier if you know Star Wars.
A perfect example I think of is I just rewatched the movie Mafia, which I don't know if you've seen Mafia. It's such a good spin-off of movies like Goodfellas, The Godfather, Casino. And it works if you haven't seen those, but once you see those, you're like, oh my God, I get what it's making fun of now.
Yeah.
So it's better, obviously, to have that background knowledge.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to breeze past it because you mentioned Sam Eagle. So I just want to bring up something about Sam Eagle in this movie. I don't think we normally see it, and I think it's so adorable when he is forced to check the lifeboats and we see Sam Eagle's little feet. Because you don't normally see that. And he's like, I will check the lifeboats. And you're like, oh, look at his little feet.
Yes. Yeah. I did enjoy that. It did make me think of when we see in Christmas Carol, like Kermit skating and whatnot. And you can you see him like,
it's always funny when you see like full body Muppets.
Yeah. It's a little jarring.
You know what's freaky in this? When you see, so there's a scene where they want to torture Gonzo and Rizzo to find out where the map is. And they're torturing Gonzo and having a tough time with it because he's enjoying the torture of being stretched out on a rack. And then we see him and his limbs are way longer. And he's like, I can play in the NBA now. But it is so freaky the moment you get of long-limbed Gonzo.
Yes. Yeah. I did really appreciate I have often thought to myself, if I could get my ankles and my wrists shackled and have people pull me, my back would feel so much better. So I was like, I agree. I would enjoy that also.
There's for a little bit, you'd be like, oh yeah, you'd get like a good crack and you'd be like, nice.
Yeah, yeah.
I also found myself during that opening song, the yo ho heave ho, like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I literally was like, am I twerking to this? Like, I was like, is this a bob? It is a bob.
Oh my God, that is so unfortunate. My favorite song was the song introducing Benjamina.
Really?
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. I feel like I hardly even remember that one because I always remember Cabin Fever, I feel like, because it is so, let's pick it up right now, you know, because it's at a lull. And the other one is, I love Professional Pirate. And Tim Curry tells you why. He's like, this is my one song, boys. Like,
yes,
he's so good. Even when he's not singing, he's just doing the ad libs of being like, sing it, fellas. Show them that you've been practicing. And you're like, yeah. He is so good and is so high energy this whole movie.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. We were watching and I thought to myself, damn, Tim Curry is like such a triple threat. It's crazy. Like, I wonder if he's ever like done a musical. And then I was like, oh my God, am I okay?
I was like, going to say, you're watching him do one and he's most famously in one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the most famous musicals of all time. But like outside of that, has he done a lot of like Broadway work or like West End work? He must have. I mean,
I'm going
to
talk about later. He was one of the stars of Spam-A-Lot for a while, though, on Broadway.
Interesting. But that had to have been like stunt casting, no? Like he was so famous at that point.
Well, yeah, but I also think it's just because he's a talented actor for that. But he did a lot of theater acting as well, I think.
He's amazing. So handsome, young Tim Curry, but not in a traditional way.
I think he's just so freaking charismatic that it makes him handsome as well.
Yeah, you're right. That's it. Because
just oozes charisma.
Oh my God. You know what's interesting? Have you ever met someone who has negative charisma?
Negative Riz?
Yeah, I didn't say that. I said negative charisma.
Of course I've met him. He's me. Like
no, you have charisma. Shut up. We're related.
No, I mean, of course you have. There are people who are just like a black hole of fun that you're like, oh God, why did I talk to you?
Oh,
it's the Debbie Downer from SNL. I'm not sure if you remember that Rachel Dratch sketch.
Of course I do, but I'm not even talking about like someone who's a downer. I'm talking about someone who like is a walking melted vanilla ice cream cone. It's like where it's like you don't know how to be funny or like you don't like get the joke. You're not laughing. Like you don't somebody like if you like give them a layup for a joke, right? Like you made a very funny joke earlier when we were off the air. And I gave you a layup, right? I told you the story about the finger and you said there's a pull my finger joke in there somewhere.
Yes.
And there are some people who just like would not make that shot.
I do think the most tragic thing is to be lacking entirely a sense of humor, like to not find things funny and to not be funny, because being funny can make up for a lot of things.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. There are so many times where I have made jokes and people, and I shouldn't say that because then it sounds like I'm making poor jokes. But like there have been a number of times where I have made a joke and someone has been like, I don't get it. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? You don't get it? I'm trying to think of an example of one. I remember like fairly recently, there was a situation at our gym where everybody got a free pair of shoes. And so they wrote your name on the shoebox. And this had been months and months and months ago. So some of the shoes were just still left over. And somebody was like, I forgot my shoes. I'm just going to go steal whatever person's shoes. And there was like a pair of shoes for somebody named Daniel Craig. And the person was like, well, this is my size, so I'm just going to take Daniel Craig's shoes. And I like made a joke about 007 and like didn't get it and was like, what do you mean? And I was like, what do you mean? What do I mean? Like, I made this very obvious. Anyway.
Honestly, the thing that comes to my mind is I remember being in a high school assembly and like I was whispering to my friend and I called him a douchebag. And the guy next to me yanked on my sleeve like he's a child and goes, what's a douche? And I was like,
no.
I was like, this ain't Santa Claus. Like, I'm not here to break some news to you. I was like, I don't know. Ask somebody else, man. This ain't my job. I was like, how do you
Google it?
Exist in the world, man? Like, I was like, oh my God.
Also, like, use context clues. Like, it's obviously not something nice.
Also, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one thing to say, oh, I don't get that joke if it's like a pop culture reference. Pretend you know. I always remember there was a job I was working, and I'll never forget. It was one of the best pieces of advice a manager ever gave me. They said, they don't know what you don't know, because we were going to be interacting with customers all day. And I was like, that is such a good way of putting it.
Yep. Yeah. I oh my God. The ability to fake it till you make it it's necessary in life. It should be taught in school. Like, the amount of times Corey and I call it telling on yourself. The amount of times that people will tell on themselves. It's like, you could have just said, "Oh, actually, just give me a second. I just want to double check." And then, like, I don't know. It's yeah, where you can edit all of this out.
I was going to say, I was like, oh my God, we're not talking about the Muppets at all.
We're not talking about the Muppets.
Can I talk about, I find Blind Pew adorable and the voice adorable. And something I found out in research that I don't think is important enough to include in the facts is, I guess, one of the ways that he's supposed to seem more interesting, and it's apparently something they do for Swedish Chef too, is the top half and the bottom half of him are two different operators. So I think it really contributes to Blind Pew when he's like weirdly moving around. And I loved him being called a blind fiend, and Gonzo, I think, is the one who corrects him and goes, I believe they prefer visually impaired fiend.
Yes. Yeah, that was funny. Now this is a moment where I'm like, okay, this Muppet character, is he made for this movie, or does he come back?
Yes.
Is he like
Blind
a guy?
Pew is a character from Treasure Island.
Oh.
Which I don't think he's a silly Muppet in Treasure Island, but
well, sure. But is this Muppet, like, is his real name like Bill, the tech guy?
I don't think I know him from anything else.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But there are other characters in this that I don't know from other things too that I love. Like, if we want to talk about a character who I don't know from any other Muppet material, who I think is hysterical in this movie, I don't know if you'll remember him by name, but Clueless Morgan.
No.
He's the one who talks like this. Like, one of my favorite moments of the movie is him handing over the black spot to Long John Silver, and they put it on the Bible. So it's obviously a huge deal that he turns around on them, but it's the moment where he give him the black spot and he goes, "This is for you." Like, just the way he says it. Yes. And then when he's trying to give forgiveness and he's rubbing him down going, "Such a kind man, a beautiful man." Like, it's just the performance and the voice that are so funny to me. Clueless Morgan is great. And I think he's also the one who, when they're jailed, they're given pieces of bread as like their meal. And he's like, "But I ordered the shrimp scampi," like something like that.
Yes, that was very funny. I really liked the rats on vacation on the cruise ship.
We put the rat in Pie Rat. Yeah. Rizzo cleverly says, no matter what, it won't be a total economic loss if we don't find the treasure. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. I just really enjoy the Muppets. Like, I understand why they're such a big phenomenon and like how they've spanned so many generations. One thing that really stood out to me was I saw something on Instagram prior to watching this movie. I may have sent it to you, where people were like, it was oh my God, I sound so old. It was like a post on Instagram, but it was like a tweet. Do you know what I'm talking about? And somebody was like, I overheard my coworker saying that she was so appalled that the new Muppet special was not for kids and that she thought it was a kid show. And she was like, "It's the fucking Muppets. It's not a kid show." And I was like, oh, that's so interesting, because they really do a great job of putting in a lot of adult humor that would otherwise go over the kids' heads so that everyone is really entertained.
I was going to say, I know they cut one joke from the movie because it was like too adult. But otherwise, I think they do such a good job of putting stuff in there. But the one joke they cut is when Polly tells Clueless Morgan to give Long John the black spot. Originally, Polly goes, "Give it to him." And Clueless Morgan goes, "But I'm not even attracted to him." And I'm like, that's the one thing they had to cut, but they do a good job of, I'm watching this as a 33-year-old man, and I'm like, I'm having a delightful time. I think, I guess, I don't know if it's a nostalgia thing, because I don't have that huge a connection to the Muppets, but maybe it is puppetry in general that it feels childlike watching it, and it's so easy to fall into and accept it. No, 100%. And I think I will say this: there are two things that I felt were missing that Christmas Carol definitely had, and one of them, and arguably the biggest one, is
the way that Michael Caine played that role. Sorry, excuse me. Michael Caine played that role
Kind.
so dead seriously, so bought in, so full on that it made the contrast between him and the Muppets so good. And I feel like this movie didn't quite have that.
I've heard people say that Tim Curry, the difference between them is Michael Caine plays it so humanly and Tim Curry is a Muppet.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think I see the benefits of both because I cannot say a bad thing about Tim Curry in this. I think he is fucking great. And I still think he's willing to take it down in moments where if it desperately calls for it, he will take it down. Like the one moment that's coming to mind is when they're about to turn on Long John and he tells Jim, run away. You know, that one moment where I think he has a moment with him where he's telling him to run away. And Jim is saying, well, why are you letting me go? And he's like, I do like you. I hope you didn't think I was lying about that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we get it again at the end too, when he's trying to, spoiler, run away with the treasure again. He brings it back down because it's just a conversation between him and Jim.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. And I think, you know, if I had never seen A Christmas Carol and seen Michael Caine play the fucking Scrooge to a bunch of puppets, it would not be such a stark difference where it's like, oh, he's kind of like giving into the Muppet-dom of it all. And I think I was a little bit spoiled to see that one first. And the second thing is, I think the overall material. And again, I want to go into this with like, I've never read Treasure Island. I have no idea. To me, it was just like a story about pirates, right? Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Buried treasure, our matey, whatever. It wasn't as serious as A Christmas Carol. So, you know, again, I didn't particularly care for A Christmas Carol, so I'm not suggesting it's not as good.
I was gonna say, I think that's a good thing because I know A Christmas Carol left you feeling guilt-ridden.
It did, because I have a lot of guilt and anxiety. It's the Judaism. But I think the overall plot being a little bit more like, we're just trying to get this buried treasure and like, oh, we're going to strand them on the island so we can take it for ourselves, doesn't feel as like rooted in such like serious or like dire circumstances. Whereas like if it was like I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I'm trying to say?
I guess you're saying because it's not taken as seriously story-wise that you're less gripped onto it. Maybe.
Yeah, yes. I think it just felt a little bit like a kid's movie about some pirates. And obviously there was like people died and there was guns and whatever. Like, I'm not suggesting that it was like all light and fluffy, but there was no like, in A Christmas Carol, this little boy is going to die if Scrooge doesn't come around, right? In Muppet Treasure Island, it's like, oh man, now we're not going to be rich.
Yes, I know in Treasure Island, and I'd heard Brian Henson talking about this in an interview, that they had to make some changes to the story because it's just a coming of age story about Jim Hawkins. And in the book, the moment where he really defines himself as a man is apparently a pirate is approaching him and he has a gun drawn on this pirate who's like, you're just a boy, you're not going to shoot me. And Jim Hawkins' coming of age moment is he shoots this pirate in the face and murders him. And they're like, obviously, we're not doing that in Muppet Treasure Island. So we had to work our way around that.
Yeah.
And I think it still is a movie about, you know, Jim Hawkins growing into a better person where it's like, what's more important? Is it treasure or is it your morals? Is it being a good person? That's why at the end, spoiler again, he lets Long John go, even though Long John's taking the treasure because it's not worth it to call out to them to get this man to be hanged. You know, he doesn't want to see that happen.
Yeah.
And luckily it still works out that they get the treasure anyway in the end.
Right. Absolutely. Two things that really stuck out to me about this. Number one, let's talk about Long John. Is long an adjective describing him? Is it one word, Long John? Is it in reference to the pants that he's wearing? Like, how did we get to this man's name is Long John?
That is a good question. It's okay. So in Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island, it's not explicitly explained, but it's generally understood to be a reference to his physical height or simply a pirate style nickname to distinguish him.
Okay.
So I think it's basically about him being a larger fellow despite missing a leg.
And then they named the fish restaurant after him,
Yes.
after the bad guy from this movie. Book.
Yeah, but I think mostly after the storybook, I don't think there's that much to it. I don't think there's anything in the actual. I don't know if I've ever been to Long John Silver's. Have you? I don't know. If
No, absolutely not.
I don't think they have a lot in there referencing that. It's not like Bubba Gump where they have Treasure Island playing at all times.
Yeah. Okay. Second thing, Jim Hawkins, the actor who played him. I'll save my opinions on that for later. They really loved a falsetto for that kid, huh?
I feel the same way about it, and not his fault at all.
No,
but I feel like it took me out of the moment every time. He had to sing like this now. He really sang it high.
It was like, and I will be a pirate. And it's like, in the beginning, it was like, oh, he's just, somebody had to sing the high part, right? And then it's like, oh no, they're just going to let this fucking 15-year-old boy sing like a 12-year-old girl.
He was 13 at the time of filming. And there's a moment where he's singing right next to Tim Curry. And I feel like he opens his mouth and starts to do this thing. And I feel like Tim Curry's face says even like, oh shit, I didn't know you were going to say like that. And then he's like, oh, I have to sing now. But it does feel like there's a moment of him being like, huh?
And Tim Curry has such a thick beard and he's such a like brooding man.
Bravado,
and then you have
manly
this
voice. Yeah.
little boy singing next to him. And you can tell that like he shouldn't be singing that high. Like there's obviously like if we bring it down an octave, it's too low. You can hit the notes, just fucking sing. You're a little boy. It's fine. This movie is about the Muppets. Shut the fuck up. But like, it is alarming.
So I'm going to give you another fact now because we're too close to the subject that I can't not give to you. So they recorded everything beforehand, like singing wise, so that they could just know what octave they wanted to be in and things like that. And then they played around with it. And for everyone, it was like, okay, we recorded you all singing it while we weren't filming, and now we're going to record it again while actually filming. And for everybody, it's them actually live recording is what I've read and heard in interviews, except for him because of puberty and his voice was starting to crack. So they had to use those pre-recorded versions that they had.
Wow. It hits you like a ton of bricks, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like I said, he was 13 when they were filming. So he went from this, like, I'm just imagining it was like, when you're a professional pirate, like, what is it from the Brady Bunch? When it's time to change, like,
yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, well that makes a whole lot of sense. But yeah, they really pushed it to the bitter end with that kid's fucking falsetto.
That's all they had, and they kept it going.
Yep.
I do also like that even though this is a kid's movie, we do get death in the movie.
Yeah. I appreciated that.
Especially Billy Bones right at the beginning. And then they acknowledge they're like, in a kid's movie? Like,
yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite Muppet?
I have a really soft spot, and he's not featured in this movie too much, for Beaker. I think Beaker is freaking adorable. It's one of my favorite moments of Muppet Christmas Carol is him and Bunsen coming in and going, Mr. Scrooge, I presume. Me. I love it. I can't remember what song it is, but they're singing a song at one point. And I love when Beaker is there in a shot in the song because you can always hear in the background, everybody's singing the actual lyrics and you can hear a tiny voice going, me. Like, I don't know. It gets me every time.
That's so funny. Yeah, I really like Beaker. Oh God, I don't know them well enough to really make a strong choice. So I'm going to give you like a couple. Mm-hmm. I really like Animal.
Okay. Animal's great.
I really like Rizzo the Rat, obviously. I have been corrected that he is from New Jersey, but it's all the same. He's a local.
He's so New York, though. Yeah.
I know. These Jersey people want to be New York.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Rizzo and Frank Sinatra. We get those two. Both from Jersey, but both New Yorkers. And
I do love that Frank Sinatra sang songs about multiple places, though. He was like, fuck it. It's a great way to make money. New York. My kind of town, Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't give a fuck. He was definitely for hire. And I really like The Swedish Chef.
I love that they even acknowledge it. They're like, how else are we going to fit him into this movie?
Yeah. And I really like Sweetums.
Sweetums is cute. I feel like he's never that featured. Two things I want to recommend to everybody right now if they haven't seen it. I think I sent to you the Muppet Rap Battle
Yes.
Beaker is so good in the Muppet rap battle, I think. And the other thing is, apparently, it's this video of Andy Samberg, and I don't remember if it was part of his SNL audition or something like that. But he was pretending to be Swedish Chef doing Red Hot Chili Peppers, and it's hysterical. It's him being like, schmorgity schmorg, schmorgity schmorg, schmorgity schmorg, schmorg. Like,
oh my God.
I would recommend both of those if you haven't seen it. I feel like I fell into a little bit of a Muppet thing going back for Christmas Carol on this. Something else I'd recommend, Gab, if you just have a bunch of free time, which we all do, as everyone knows.
Yeah.
There is a show, it's on Disney Plus. It was The Muppets for ABC. They did one season of it and then it got canceled because I feel like it was on Fridays and they didn't like talk about it, something like that. It's a workplace mockumentary about them making Up Late with Miss Piggy, and she's the host of a late night show. Kermit's the executive producer. You know, you've got Animal and the Electric Mayhem or the band. Fozzie is the, comic between sets. It is so good. And it's for adults, basically. Like, there are episodes about Fozzie's dating life. Kermit and Miss Piggy sort of have a will they, won't they thing going on. I so highly recommend it for a show that's only like 16 episodes.
That's great. I'm definitely going to watch that because I'm really interested. Speaking of Fozzie, the guy and his finger, I did not think that was funny.
You know what's interesting about it is apparently it tested really well with audiences. And the funny thing is about it, I think it's Frank Oz plays young Squire Trelawney. He said from the moment they got the script, he was like, I don't get it. This isn't funny. And then they did it at the table read and everybody laughed. And he was like, I don't get it. This isn't going to work in the actual movie. And then apparently when they were doing actual screenings of the movie, people were laughing. And he was like, I guess I'm wrong.
I'm with him. Is he still alive?
Frank Oz? Yes. I don't think it's a great bit, but it's not a big enough.
I thought you were going to say, I don't think he's hanging on by much. But
no, he is alive. He is 81.
Okay. Oh man, that was really funny. I thought you were going to be like, listen, he has a light bulb.
Frank Oz is okay. And he famously was the voice of Miss Piggy, Fozzie, Animal, and Sam Eagle. And he was Yoda.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's amazing. Okay. Yeah. I don't have a ton else to say.
In general, I think Rizzo and Gonzo should always be paired, and they're not always paired, but I think in Christmas Carol and this, it does such a good job of pairing them that it feels like a why would you ever take these characters apart thing.
Are they not like a dynamic duo in normal times?
Not always. And I feel like sometimes they are, sometimes they are not, but I think it just makes such obvious sense to me because their dynamic works so well of Gonzo being willing and able, and Rizzo is always like, can't I just eat? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sounds like me and you.
Pretty much. I'm Rizzo.
Yes.
I'll take it. Also, I do just want to reiterate Tim Curry, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. What do you think is Tim Curry's most famous work?
It's got to be Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, okay. I agree.
Although, what?
Clue
is up there, and I think even though it's a TV movie, him as Pennywise is up there.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, he was more famous.
That was a TV movie?
That was a made-for-TV movie.
Oh, fuck. That, to me, he's the Pennywise.
I think to a lot of people he is. And the funny thing is, I feel like if you rewatch that movie, you can so tell it's made for TV. And it aired over 2 nights, and I'm like, you can tell this was made on a TV budget, but he is so good that people remember him as that character.
He's so good. He's in a wheelchair, right? What's up with him?
He is. He had a stroke a few years ago, and thank God we didn't lose Tim Curry, knock on wood. I think he still occasionally voice acts, like he was in Over the Garden Wall.
Yeah.
So it's good that he still does something occasionally. I feel like I see him get interviewed a lot. I hope he's doing okay.
Yeah. Oh,
it's a
God,
shame.
What a treasure.
Yeah.
Is he married?
I don't think so. I do feel like I'll have a sort of interesting fact relating to that at some point.
Okay.
But
sometimes I just
about him being married.
I hope he has love in his life. That's all. He's just been such a treasure for us, I hope someone can be treasure for him.
I hope he doesn't feel too alone, like some kind of treasure island.
Yeah. All right. Can we move on?
I'm sorry. I hate me for it too.
It's okay.
Oh, one other Tim Curry line that I do want to talk about real quick is there was a moment where at the end it turns into a bunch of sword play and like Kermit does some good sword play and stuff like that. But at one point, there's a couple of human pirates, and at one point Jim is having a sword fight with one of these human pirates, and it's in the background, but I absolutely love Long John going, "Come on, Jerry, he's just a kid." I don't know. That feels like it's more for the adults watching than the kids. And it's so funny that it's like, what are we doing? We can't beat this motherfucker.
He must have had the majority of those lines ad-libbed. Like all the stuff in the song, all of that shit had to have just been like, just be yourself.
It was funny too. I don't think they ad-lib that much if there are any Muppets around, is what I was reading and hearing about, because apparently people were asking like, oh, how much is there on the cutting room floor? We'd love to see some kind of extended cut. And Brian Henson was like, it's not like we do a bunch of improvised takes. We got to do things very specifically to make this Muppet stuff work.
Yeah.
People are built into the floor and stuff. Like I saw one of these sets was you've got sand everywhere. And then there's 4 people who are buried in the sand, basically. They're standing in a little spot, but sometimes they have like these little chairs that just have a little spot for their head to lean, but they're slouched in.
Oh,
it doesn't seem like fun work. So you must love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. One thing I wanted to say was there's a moment where they're going to meet Fozzie, like they're trying to get their ship built, and it's definitely the set from A Christmas Carol.
I feel like it's probably not, but I totally see why you say it, just because it's
it is.
Random city.
I know it is.
Yeah,
Google
that makes sense. This came after. But I don't know if they still have the same sets a couple years later.
What do you think they do with them? Take them out back and burn them?
Yeah, sell them for parts.
I think it's the same set. Can you Google it?
I can try. Based on this is Google's AI answer, which enough, Google, stop it.
Yeah.
Based on general production history, Muppet Treasure Island does not directly reuse major sets from the Muppet Christmas Carol. Victorian London versus 18th century tropical pirate areas were unlikely, but there's because I know what you're talking about with just that like one street.
Yeah.
When they're going to see Squire Trelawney, but his dim-witted young Squire Trelawney is here.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. That's why I thought it was worth looking up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's 4 years later, though. I think it's probably unlikely.
Maybe. But it even felt like the door, like when they knocked on the knocker, I was like, this is definitely Marley and Marley's house.
Ooh.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh, did you notice? I feel like it's kind of small. Last thing, that Kermit or Captain Smollett has a tattoo of Miss Piggy on his chest.
No.
You can see it only towards the end when he has the open shirt, but it's a tattoo of Miss Piggy.
That's so funny. Does Kermit always have a tattoo of Miss Piggy, or is it just this character? Oh, okay.
No, Kermit's normally naked, as you know. Like, just his little green self. So I thought that was
that's funny.
Yeah,
that's very funny.
Gab, you want me to hit you with some facts?
I'm ready for the facts.
I want the truth.
Face the facts, ducks.
Facts have no place with an organized religion.
On the tomato meter, it has an 80% with 70 fresh reviews and 18 rotten, with an audience score of 77% and an average score of 3.9 out of 5. On IMDb, it has a 6.9 out of 10. The movie had a budget of $5 million, which was less than Christmas Carol, and it grossed $34 million. The movie was released February 18th, 1996, and it opened in third behind Broken Arrow and Happy Gilmore.
Wow, that is weird to think that this movie came out at the same time as Happy Gilmore.
Right? You don't picture those together.
No.
The critics' consensus, though less Muppet-centric than the original trilogy, Muppet Treasure Island is an energetic, cheerful take on Robert Louis Stevenson's classic adventure with typically solid gags. Roger Ebert gave it 2.5 stars. Muppet Treasure Island, directed by Brian Henson, son of the late Muppet genius, will entertain you more or less in proportion to your affection for the Muppets. Susan, I'm going to read you this. I'm going to spell this and you're going to help me.
Okay.
WLOSZCYZNA.
Gesundheit.
Susan Lajushna from USA Today. Fuck you, Gab. We're going with that.
Yep.
Gina Davis and Rennie Harlan couldn't cut it with Cutthroat Island. Steven Spielberg nearly got the hook for Hook, but leave it to Miss Piggy and Kermit to discover uncharted gold in the shipwrecked pirate genre.
Aw, cute.
Wally Hammond from Time Out. After the delightful Muppet Christmas Carol, this fourth Kermit and Pal star vehicle comes as a slight disappointment, but it's a treat all the same. And last one from Jane Sumner from the Dallas Morning News. Kermit, who did his own stunts, can still imply more with a twist of mouth than many actors can with all their physical equipment.
I could not agree more. Kermit is so charismatic.
Kermit's the man.
Yeah.
Couple letterbox reviews.
Please.
Russ Mann said, R.I.P. Dead Tom.
I love Dead Tom. I love that bit where they were like, he's dead. And they were like, he's been dead the whole time.
Dead Tom's been dead the whole time.
Yeah.
Branson Reese, my boy Rizzo back in the spotlight where he belongs.
Amen.
Holly Beth, the only way Disney can save Pirates of the Caribbean is if they do a Muppet remake.
True.
Who would be Jack Sparrow? Would it be a Muppet or is it still like Johnny Depp?
Oh, I think it would have to be Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I don't know who else could do it. Maybe Clueless Morgan.
There would just be no straight man, you know?
I guess. Clueless Morgan could kind of do it though. But you have heard of me. Last one from Sater. Many people have done the humans are sexually attracted to Miss Piggy bit, but none do it as convincingly as Tim Curry.
Yeah.
The movie was directed by Brian Henson, who also directed Muppet Christmas Carol, The Happy Time Murders, and Sid the Science Kid. The screenplay is written by Jerry Jewell, Kirk R. Thatcher, and James V. Hart, who also wrote Muppets from Space, Muppet Haunted Mansion, Sesame Street, Fraggle Rock, Contact, Hook, and of course, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Based on the book by Robert Louis Stevenson. The movie stars Tim Curry as Long John Silver, who you may know from Rocky Horror Picture Show, Clue, and It. Billy Connolly as Billy Bones, who you may know from Brave and the Boondock Saints. Kevin Bishop as Jim Hawkins, who you may know from Grange Hill and Pinky and Perky Show. Dave Gells as the Great Gonzo and Dr. Bunsen Honeydew. Steve Whitmire as Kermit and Rizzo the Rat and Beaker. Frank Oz as Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, Animal, and Sam the Eagle. And Jerry Nelson, Kevin Clash, and Bill Beretta in supporting roles. Shout out to Bill Beretta, who is Clueless Morgan specifically. Okay. Are you ready for some fun facts?
I can't wait.
So Tim Curry said the inspiration for the Long John Silver voice was his own grandfather, which I think is kind of cool.
Oh, that's interesting. I feel like it's just Tim Curry's voice.
A little bit, yeah. But I feel like there's an interview where you hear him do his grandfather, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it.
Sure.
They asked Tim Curry about the one great love of his life, and he said it was Miss Piggy, and that once you have pork, you never go back.
Oh my God, that's gross.
Many of the songs were written by husband and wife songwriting duo Barry Mann and Cynthia Whale, who were famous for doing other songs like You've Lost That Love and Feeling on Broadway and We Got to Get Out of This Place.
Wow.
So I thought that was kind of cool. After the movie was completed, Tim Curry was given a Muppet made in his own likeness.
Aww.
Which I think is really cool. The Hormel Food Corporation, the makers of Spam, sued the production company for naming a Warthog character Spam. Their suit was defeated on September 22nd, 1995. The judge noted that, quote, one might think Hormel would welcome the association with a genuine source of pork. Which,
wow.
goddamn, yeah, that's shady. I told you about Kevin Bishop's puberty, which is a weird sentence to say.
Yep.
After the success of Muppet Christmas Carol, Jim Henson Productions decided to cast Kermit and Friends in another period piece. According to the screenwriter Kirk R. Thatcher, it was a toss-up between a Treasure Island adaptation or a take on King Arthur. Okay, next. Originally, Jim Hawkins was split into two characters, one named Jim and one named Hawkins, portrayed by Gonzo and Rizzo. They changed it to keep the story about a young boy's experience, as the novel does.
That makes sense.
Billy Connolly says he took great pride in being the first person to die in a Muppet movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which I do love that joke too about, what is it he says about running with scissors? You'll poke out your, like his death knell. So one other story that I've heard that they talked about doing while making Christmas Carol, besides King Arthur, besides Treasure Island, was they apparently talked about doing Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh.
And being a murder mystery movie, I still feel like there's room there, because I've heard this talked about before, to do a Muppet Knives Out movie, which I think would be so good.
Oh, wow.
Like, that would be such a good combination.
Yeah.
Told you about the joke that had to be cut. So this is the last thing I've got. It's a bit of a long story, but it's a Kevin Bishop story on celebrating the 30th anniversary. So he was talking about Tim Curry and his relationship, and he said, in those days, Tim was smoking Marlboro Red cigarettes, and I remember it was nearing the end of the day, and he was smoking, and he was really losing the will to live. I said, be honest, Tim, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, you're never going to live those fishnets down, are you? And Tim looked at me, took a drag on his Marlboro, and said, not as long as wankers like you keep bringing it up. And he said that was a bit of an icebreaker for me and Tim, because we then developed a timid friendship. Tim had a dry sense of humor, which is my favorite kind. He would make many jokes and people wouldn't even realize he had done it. It was for my ears only, it felt like. Like if somebody approached us who he didn't like, Tim had a code word and he would say, thank you, sublime. And that would mean Tim wasn't fond of that person. Years later, I hadn't seen him for a long time and he was in Spamalot in London. A few of my friends were in the musical and they said, Tim just says he's dying to meet you. He keeps asking after Kevin. I was like, really? Tim? Tim misses me. They said, yes, will you come to see the show and see Tim after? I said, well, yeah, if he wants to meet me, absolutely, of course. I go backstage after the show. It was like everyone had won a competition to meet Tim Curry. I'm backstage and I can hear the shower is on and I'm waiting there with everyone else. I'm thinking, oh God, I wish I hadn't done this. Tim comes out of the shower in his robe with his gown on. He lights up what is now a Marlboro Light instead of a Marlboro Red. And to each person, he says, hello, lovely. Thank you so much for coming. Hello, nice to meet you. Moving his way along the queue. I'm at the end and he comes to me and he goes, Kevin fucking Bishop, after all these years, you are still fucking annoying. He'd saved that one up. We had a good laugh together and we had a big hug and it was lovely to see him.
Oh, that is so nice.
I thought, even though that was long, that was a very worthwhile story. And it just makes Tim Curry seem wonderful if you were in with him.
Yeah. I really appreciate someone who can be a prick, but is warm and fuzzy for the people that they like. Those are my favorite type of people.
The people who you're a prick, but you're our prick.
Yeah. And it's like, that way you know that if they like you, they mean it because they're a prick to everybody else.
Yeah. Tim Curry, truly a treasure.
Yeah. I hope he's doing well.
I hope so too. Yeah, that's all the facts.
Well, then you know what time it is.
It's time for verdicts.
Do or do not. There is no try.
The guilty will be punished.
Sentence is death.
I think Muppet Treasure Island is a delightful romp. It does not have the heft of Muppet Christmas Carol, which I also think is We Watch Before You Die, but this is an easier watch where you don't have to feel as guilty about it.
Yeah, I didn't feel guilty at all, actually.
I think it is delightful. I think the Muppets are bringing their Muppet thing, and Tim Curry is bringing Tim Curryness, which is all you can ask for. A little bit of Tim Curry spices up any dish.
Yeah.
I think that's enough for me. You got my boy Rizzo. To me, it puts the rat in Pie Rat, and it's a movie to watch before you die.
I've got to be honest.
Oh,
I'm still a little bit on the fence.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is I didn't find myself having a great time in the way that I expected to with the Muppet sort of vibe, right? And I think that partly it's because we're still leaning on this source material for a lot of the jokes. And because I don't have a huge acquaintance with the Muppets as they are, not portraying historical figures, I was longing for just like pure unadulterated Muppet. So, you know, while I appreciated Kermit being the captain and Miss Piggy being Benjamina and Gonzo and Rizzo that I've become acquainted to, I wanted like Beaker being Beaker. I wanted like those characters being themselves. And I just feel like this would be the kind of thing that you appreciate when you know those characters better. So it's funny to see them portraying these other characters, which I got in A Christmas Carol because I'm familiar with that story. But this was kind of like, oh yeah, and like he's a pirate. Now, in talking with you about it, I do think that it is cute and sweet and funny and Tim Curry is great and whatever. But as I was watching it, I just wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so happy I saw this movie. My life feels changed. It did make me think, God, I fucking love Tim Curry. And what it really did was make me think, okay, now I want to like actually watch the Muppets. I want to get to know these Muppets.
If that's all I get out of this, I'll be happy with even that.
Yeah. And so when you were talking about the Muppet show and the docuseries, but like that sounds perfect. That's what I want to watch. This was fine. I thought it was okay. it didn't make me think, oh my God, like I want to watch this again, or I want to watch this with my kids, or like anything like that. It was kind of just like, yeah, it was cool to see Tim Curry. It was cool to see the Muppets. It was a fun, easy watch, but I don't think it was like a fabulous movie standalone. It just made me think, yeah, I would like to know more about these Muppets.
I can accept that, Gab. And I'm telling you, it's on Disney Plus still. Tell me you'll check out the Muppets. The show.
I promise. I'm going to watch it. Promise.
Good.
Promise.
Gab, I'll take that. I have no choice to. That's
Yeah.
my only choice, I should say. But
Yeah.
I'll take it still.
Okay.
As the Rizzo to your Gonzo, I just want to say, if I had a life, I'd hate it.
Fair.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm glad I watched it. It was good.
Having said that, do you want to say the things we say at the end of this podcast?
I will do my best. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to Movies to Watch Before You Die. If you have a movie recommendation that you would like to make that you are willing to know will largely go ignored, you can send us that request at movies-to-watch-before-you-die@gmail.com. That same email address is where you can send any number of other things, such as your comments and thoughts and opinions. You can send voice notes. You can send mail. You can send drawings that we will print out and put on our refrigerators. You can also find in the link tree below the link to our podcasting friends at the Hall of Pods podcasting network. You can find a link to our merch store. You can find a link to my Venmo. You can find our social media. And realistically, we just really want you to be happy and have a good time. And if you're called to do one of those things, that's great. And if you're not, it's also okay. And you can leave a review and a comment and all that kind of stuff. And, just do whatever you want.
We love you.
Yeah.
Tom. Dead Tom's dead. Long John shot him.
But Dead Tom's always been dead. That's why he's called Dead Tom.
Oh,